Yo.
Yo.
How we doing?
Good, man. What's happening?
Not so much, man. Just jumped out of the pool and into the car.
Nice. Good transition. You know where the coldest place on Earth is right now?
On Earth?
On Earth. Yeah. I'm here to make the big calls, Stu. Here to make the big calls.
Okay. In the OKC locker room?
No. Yes. Okay. Minisode.
Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out!
What's Jemana doing? Getting coffee? Or is he on the line?
I don't know if he's,
you idiots.
He may be growing the beans first
Okay.
because he's taking his damn time. But, where is he? Vince, come on. He's there. He bet you he's there.
He's there.
He's
yeah, we're going to
so
get this.
He does this. He does this.
It's his thing. But we should have it as part of the intro.
I bet you he's talking and doesn't realize he's got on mute.
You're baiting him. One of my friends at basketball last night said that we've somehow, if you can get the audio of the ball hitting from Giannis hitting Harden in the head, he'd like that on the podcast.
Gnid laps.
Yeah.
Happened. It's been a while. That was probably the best Gnid laps we've had.
Fuck, it would have hurt.
Oh, he was dazed.
Well, whatever it did, it unlocked some sort of code where he can't score under 50 now. So.
Oh my god, I don't. I have such anger. I have such anger towards James Harden, and you know what's so frustrating? Because when I went to the US, Harden was in Arizona, and I was following his college games and just going, "This kid's going to be fantastic. He's going to be great."
Yeah.
And now I just kind of despise him.
I'd say, did you watch the Nets game last night?
Okay, so look, let's start the show. So Vince can jump in.
You got some things to talk about.
Man, okay, all right. So I really wanted to watch that game, right? I really wanted to watch that game because it looked like such a good game. Just the stuff. I'm so ashamed of the NBA. I couldn't watch the game. I couldn't watch the game, Stu. I knew the outcome. I knew the outcome. I knew who won. I knew how tight that game won, how close it was. But just the clear discrepancy, even in just free throw shooting.
Yeah, but you would have liked watching it because you end up at the end of the game going, fuck yeah, fuck you, Houston.
Yeah.
It was good watching it for that because it didn't matter how much the rest was sucking him off in the middle of the game in front of 18,000 fans. Dinwiddie and Kuroc, they just kept coming and coming, and it was a fucking great win, man. The balls on that Nets team, unbelievable.
But it's not fun basketball to watch, and I think this is actually really reflected in All-Star votes this year. Look how far back Harden is in actual All-Star votes because no one wants to get to the All-Star game and watch him rack up 20 plus in free throws. You know what I mean? I think it's actually pretty telling. No doubt the kid's offensively really good, but I know the game before was the Memphis game, which was just god awful to watch because of Memphis anyway. But the blatant pushes he gets away with on offense.
It'd be fucking funny seeing him set an all-star record for free throws.
Dude, he can literally push players away.
Yeah.
He did it so many times that Memphis game, and I went, you know what? Don't get mad because you're getting mad anyway. We're losing. They don't even have a fucking center. But I started to see it again in that Brooklyn game, and I was just I can't watch this, man. It's not entertaining. This is a team sport. I think that's the beauty about basketball. It's such a natural team sport, and I don't want to see isolation play. You know what I mean? That's just that's not that's going to work for Houston regular season, but come playoffs, man, he's going to struggle, and I reckon after that Brooklyn game, seeing him after, he was gassed.
Yeah, he was. It's weird, though. It's like the Pied Piper. Like, the refs are lulled into it. Like, surely they know before the game he's selling it, he's faking it, he's making the contact. Like, they know this. And then the whistle starts and the ball jumps and they're all under his spell.
It's
and
ridiculous.
there would be memos from Silver's team, and there would be memos coming from Secaucus, and there would be memos coming from the Referees Association, like, you know, that we've got to get better. And, you know, we're becoming part of this drama is that James Harden is a protected species. We're part of the problem. Yet the ball goes up and they fucking do it every single game. It's
so bad.
I've never seen anything like it.
Honestly, it makes me, like the other night, I think that's the first time I've actually, like, sat there and gone, you know what, I can't watch this. Like, I just can't watch it. Like, I'm not going to force myself to watch this for, 48 minutes plus. Like, give me a spell. Is Germano with us?
He's here.
Vince, talk to us, buddy. Do you need a hug? I need a hug. Yeah. Well, maybe I should try and add him again. Oh, he's left. He's left.
He was there. I heard him swallowing and breathing heavily.
All right, let me give him another.
A handsome Italian man that he is.
Vince!
Is this working now?
Oh my goodness, where were you?
I couldn't get my microphone to bloody work.
I thought you were growing the coffee beans.
Would have been easier.
How you doing, mate?
Oh, 17. It's a magical number today.
Oh.
Well, that's how much the Lakers were down, and we came back and whooped OKC's ass.
Oh, man.
That was great.
I was really glad you guys won that game. I was getting a bit worried there. Look, for everyone tuning in now, listening to the Courtside Podcast, of course, you can find us at the website, www.CRTSDE.podbean.com. Down there, you'll find all the links to the show. Out of respect for Stu tonight, it's a mini-sode because some of you may or may not know he records from his car. What else are you going to do when you got Sean Kemp amount of kids? I mean, that's fair. You need a quiet spot. So, mini-sode is...
Hang on. I pay for mine.
You pay for yours? All right, fair enough.
And they're all with one woman.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Wayno, his recording apparatus is still better than yours.
How dare you? These wind-up mice do fine, thank you very much. Of course, Vince...
I like to think all my apparatuses are better than Wayne's, but anyway.
Oh, goes without saying.
Come on now. Come on, it's early. We started already, have we? Vince, some life questioning moments today for you. How dare your daughter eat Vegemite on toast without any butter? What have you done?
Look,
Where did you go wrong? Where did you go wrong in life?
Don't know, mate. Don't know. I was shocked this morning. I'm like, do you want some toast? She's like, yeah, no butter. I'm like, I was shattered.
Wow, where's she sleeping tonight?
I thought, who do I turn to, you know?
Facebook.
It was the only thing I could reach out and, like, maybe someone give me some advice, but look, that ship sailed. I can't, let's not turn it around.
Fair enough.
It's gone.
Fair enough. Look, we've talked a little bit about Houston and the dwellings of Harden, but before we get started, we should give old Freddie a good old happy birthday.
3-0.
Brenton Cunningham, happy birthday, my friend. Courtside faithful listener and unofficial fourth member of the band.
And Coca-Cola's #1 customer.
Is he not sponsored? I can't believe he's not sponsored by Coca-Cola.
It's got to be coming because when he smiles, he's got no teeth. So, if that doesn't get him a sponsorship deal, nothing will.
You know what? I reckon he has a little Coke tattoo somewhere on him. He hasn't told us. It's a shame.
I hope it's not on his back because you'll have to wade through and machete through that Amazon.
Oh, you got to get
tangled.
But you got to get the wavy line effect somehow, Vince. We love you, Brenton. We love you.
Safe to say, Cunningham is going to absolutely kill me. But it's worth it. You could actually, he's the only man I've known you could style his back hair.
That's disturbing on so many levels.
Like you could plait it, you could part it to one side, you could have it down the middle. You could have a mullet.
Oh my God. Hey, how crazy. I don't know what's going on lately, but it feels like the last week, the score lines in the NBA have been ridiculous.
Huge.
I think it was 2 days ago. I think there was like all but one game that they weren't.
All but the Lakers.
Wow. I don't want to throw you guys under the bus, but I mean, but all the other score lines were like 120 plus. It was like, what is going on? I couldn't believe some of the scores.
Yeah, they were big gaps as well. Like, that day, every team got spanked, but they were still high scores, but it was like 110 to 154. They were all, and we were on track, and then we stopped playing with 4 minutes to go, and we let the Bulls close an 18-point deficit in 3 minutes.
Yeah, crazy, man. I mean,
yeah, you had the same night. You had Philly Wolves, and Philly went into the half with like 88 points or something.
Oh,
at the half, that's insane.
Do we want to talk about that game? Oh my goodness, that was embarrassing.
I'll tell you what, the Wolves could use a centre.
Ouch.
Talking about Philly, I mean, obviously they're playing pretty well right now. Let's have a little look at their record. 4th seed in the Eastern Conference if it would go down today. 30-16 on the year. They're actually on a 3-game win streak and 7-3 in their last 10. Did you guys hear the little? I mean, look. You know me, I don't jump to conclusions at all. I mean, I don't hear a trade rumor fly around and go, it's treated as gospel, right?
No, you go to quality websites like Basketball Forever,
right,
and just get all your top quality sources from there.
Well, who are you and where have you buried Wayne?
I heard an interesting one the other day, actually, and it was, I feel like there's maybe a little bit of truth to, I don't think it happens. I'll just say that off the bat. But there seems to be like a real, I don't know, I feel like a bit of confusion with Ben Simmons.
Is this the Simmons to Lakers trade?
No, this is the Simmons to Charlotte trade.
Oh, turn it up.
Yeah, Kemba Walker and Mikal Bridges for Simmons.
Yeah, that's, okay, who reported that?
Hey, I'm not giving up my sources, Vince. Basketballwives.com.
Some reporters out there, they can cut their ear off. It doesn't make them Van Gogh. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just pulling shit out of their butts.
Yeah. I mean, they're playing well right now, but there does, I don't know, I feel like we talked about the start of the year with this squad and if they had it in them to sacrifice for the better of the team. And I feel like it's something that they're still sort of butting heads with. I mean, obviously, the Jimmy Butler rumblings that went down a few weeks ago, I don't feel like actually much has been resolved in that. Like, they've kind of swept it under the rug a little bit, but can they figure it out?
They just need to concede that is Joel Embiid's team. It just is. He is just... There is no one in the league except for Al Horford because he just gives it to him. But it's different this season. It's his team, and I think Ben knows that. I don't think Jimmy does. I still don't know why they traded for Jimmy. I'd have kept Covington and Saric, but got him. They've got to deal with him. But it's his team, and it's got to go through him. I still think they're going to be really good in the East, and I think they're going to be in the conference final.
Ooh, I like it.
I agree with Benson. And I also think that Ben Simmons, he probably concedes the fact that it's Embiid's team, but I also think he knows he makes this thing hum.
What I really was impressed with Simmons actually the past couple of days was that loss to Atlanta and him coming out and calling the guys soft. I mean, it's one thing to do that, but to step up your game yourself after that, because he has been just a machine since that game. I think they went into that Atlanta game like it was another win in the column, right? Atlanta shook them. Atlanta have been playing fantastic, my goodness. But, I mean, they shook them and they got that win, and I think that really, I don't know, it was a bit of a slap in the face for Simmons, that. But I was glad that Simmons has definitely taken his game, at least it seems, to another level since then.
I feel like sometimes people don't realise, I think they realise how good Simmons is, but he doesn't get his I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for here, boys?
He's due?
Yeah, like, I don't know.
I mean, he's playing in the shadows of Joe Ingles, possibly the greatest Australian basketball player we've ever produced. So, fair.
Apart from, shut up, Wayne.
It is interesting, though, because I don't know if there's a second-year player having a better year than him. Or third year or fourth year, whatever he is. 10 years.
No, he's a rookie. No, look, I think he's happy to let Embiid come out in the social media and act a bit of a clown, because Embiid's like a big kid. He reminds me of Shaq in some ways. Yeah. And I just think Simmons is happy, just like, because Simmons is like, to come out and say these guys are soft. Like I said before, he knows he's the engine that makes it go. And I'll tell you what, gun to their heads, if you asked them trade Embiid or Simmons, I don't know, I'd be trading Embiid before Simmons.
Oh, really? I don't think you can, man. He's best in the league. Best in the league at his position, man.
How good is Simmons? Come on.
No, granted.
Simmons is great. I don't think any of us are going to debate. Gun to their head, I think they keep Embiid.
Yeah, same.
Wow.
I think that position...
Position? You can get a centre anywhere.
Mate, not like that.
Mate, we've got 3 of them.
We've got 4.
I'm officially putting the milk carton out too. I'm putting my milk cartons out because has anyone seen or heard of Fultz?
No, look, it's a good thing he's gone quiet.
It is?
Yeah. Well, he's off rehabbing. His mum's been quiet. He's been quiet. His agent's quiet.
True.
It's a good thing,
It is good. It's no distraction.
They don't need it. They're rolling. What are they, 30 and 16?
Yeah, 30
It was funny. I was watching them the other night against the Wolves, and it was. They got to about the third quarter, and it hit me. Obviously, I looked at the lineup, and McConnell came in, and I'm like, oh yeah, they don't have him anymore, and I kind of they're just a unit that's gelled, and there's no social media drivel about him and making fun of his shot and all this. Like, it's just gone completely dead, and it's a distraction they don't need. He's obviously removed himself to rehab and to get it better. I think it's a total non-factor at the moment. I think Fultz is still on the books, but not a consideration.
I'll say one thing. I think Philly need a bit more power forward. I don't know who the answer is or what the answer is, but they need something else. But geez, I'm 30 and 16.
Not bad.
Thanks to Ben Simmons.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're getting the rebounds of a power forward through Ben, but probably not the defensive stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, talking about stops, good segue, Stu.
Got my notes.
I just don't know how long this is going to last because I think it's going to stop pretty quick. But obviously, you guys saw fans they announced can now interact with referees during the game via Twitter.
Oh, let me at him.
How long is this going to last? Can you imagine the heat these guys are going to cop? There's no way this lasts more than a week.
It's insane.
How does it work? How are they getting access to the tweets?
They've got a phone in their hand running up and down the court.
I think
they can't see anyone.
They're not watching the
Well, not in Houston anyway.
Ooh, nice, I like that.
The Twitter business with the rest is just ridiculous.
Yep.
Like no one cares. And what are they going to do? Like, what are they going to do? They're not going to.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, what are they going to do? Just fucking announce all the calls they missed? I mean, the NBA already does that for them, right? Like, fucking. Like, are they going to tweet out that we that goaltend today in London wasn't an actual goaltend, so technically Nick should have won the game, but it changes nothing.
We're just going to tweet. We're just going to tweet from Sexy Legs 128, and turns out that the call was wrong. So we're going to reverse the play.
And like, they're not going to address. Like, imagine the putrid hate those guys are going to cop. Like, not one of those refs is going to get on there for 5 minutes during a game and. Like, just the abuse those guys will cop, and rightfully so. The refereeing this season has been fucking atrocious.
Yeah, I get Silver's trying to bring this game into a new millennium, to a new audience, and we're all, we've got access to everything at the tips of our fingers, but referees in the middle of the game, fuck out of here. I
feel like such an old man saying up. I know I've said it on previous shows and stuff, but I feel bad for the players that have come before this generation now. It's not the players' fault. It's just the way the league has set things up now. Like, and I suppose to some extent it's my concern with changing of the conferences and things like that. It's just that like the records set players who honestly like really had to earn it, and the way the game's set up now, like it's no wonder records being broken. I mean, just look at those score lines we we touched on recently. It's just like, I don't feel like half these players in today's game have earned these records. I feel like it's just a given. It's like a participation prize or some bullshit. It just irks me as like a long-time NBA fan. And I know I had no control over it, but you know, when I go to sit down and watch an exciting game of Brooklyn versus Houston, I just can't help but grind my teeth.
I think on that though, I think we've got to recognise that regardless of that, the league's getting leveler, and I'm liking it. There is legitimately on any given night at the moment, and I said it at the start of the season, and I'm more convinced as this season is going on, that it doesn't matter if you have got the Golden State Warriors playing the Atlanta Hawks on any given night. You're going to get a game, and you very well could get an upset. You've got Kings in the playoff hunt. You've got the Nets locked in the top 8 at the moment. You've got teams that, have really turned a corner. Good management. You've got, good personnel. It's really cool to see that on any given night, there's a couple of upsets or a ton of very close games.
Maybe it's just the 90s kid in me talking, That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Well, speaking about points, we should get us to a point guard in Boston. I mean, we talk about Philly having a good record and turmoil. I mean, what's transpired the past couple of days with Boston's been pretty interesting as well. I mean, they sit below Philly in the ladder at the 5th seed, but 26-18, starting to really roll, 6-4 in the last 10. Something's not right though in Boston. Like, we've had, the scuffle during a timeout between Jaylen Brown and Marcus Morris, which has kind of been brushed aside now. We've had Irving calling out his teammates, Jaylen Brown, sort of defending that. We've had Irving on the horn to LeBron to apologise about being a young player and obviously he's learning to be a leader in Boston all over. But it just feels like there's a lot of dramas going on right now in Boston and they're playing quite well. I mean, I don't know if it's just... I mean, I feel like to a point, Irving has a point, like he's been there, done that. Is there anyone else on that squad who's won a chip?
I don't. Aaron Baines.
Baines in San Antonio, yes, good point. So, I mean, like, two guys. So, I mean, maybe it is more of a focus thing with Irving and, this is coming from a good place because he knows come playoffs time, I mean, they're going to have to step it up a gear. They're going to have to be focused.
They covered this on on Bill Simmons' podcast with Zach Lowe. And they seem to think from their information is that Kyrie Irving says it a lot, that I've won a championship, I've hit big shots, I hit a big shot in a championship round to pretty much ice the thing. And from what they're hearing, players get jack of it. They just don't like I didn't see this part, but this is what they said. The players, like, he had a go at Hayward, Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
They, from all reports, they didn't like that. And it just seems like he's not a very good leader of young players. And he's got a massive ego. And if you listen to Chris Anstey, he's not a good guy.
I mean, look, not all great players are everyone's best friend. I mean, we can imagine, from the stuff we've...
How would you feel if Benson said to you every week, oh, mate, I've got the number one podcast in Australia. I know what I'm doing.
He does say that, though. He does.
Just let me host.
He is a bully. You're right.
Did it piss you off after a while?
No, I see your point, but I suppose, to sort of counter that, it's like, I mean, you guys know, you guys are LA fans through and through. I mean, I'm sure Kobe wasn't the nicest to his, it's well reported, his relationships with his teammates, but I also feel like, to be great, to play at an elite level, not just an all-star level, but an elite level. I mean, because any kid can have talent, but to play at an elite level, you need a little bit of arrogance. You need a little bit of that chip on the shoulder that you can carry throughout your career. Do you know what I mean? I kind of feel like Irving has a bit of that in him.
I definitely do. I think it was important, the bits that he's spoken about and LeBron has spoken about from their conversation. And it was that Kyrie felt the same way about LeBron coming in, telling him how he won championships in Miami, how they had to act, how they had to hold themselves, how they had to close games. And Kyrie was the young kid not wanting to hear it. Eventually bought in, they won a championship. And so now Kyrie's on the flip side of that, and he's got the Browns and, the Gordon Haywards, whilst he's been in the league for 7 years, he hasn't won anything. And so he's copying that same sort of flack that LeBron cop from a young Kyrie. So he's on the flip side of it now, and the phone call was poignant and at the right time, and he's got some clarity on it. I think it'll help him going forward to try and understand the other side of that conversation and the bigger picture. But that Boston Celtics team, if they're going to get over the hurdle, they need Kyrie to be that guy. They need him to be that one pushing them. I think Bill Simmons just doesn't like Kyrie. I don't think he, from anything I've ever read or heard from him, I don't think he's ever been a massive Kyrie fan. It's Kyrie's team, and they need to ride him and his skill to playoff glory. I just think that, I think they'll be fine. I still think they have a personnel problem in terms of how much talent they've got to find minutes for. And I think Brad Stevens is still trying to work it out. But I still think a big issue with them is Gordon Hayward.
I mean, that whole Hayward situation, I think that was just heat of the moment, and that lost them that game. Against a team they should have won.
Yeah. Well, that's an alternate play. So they run that in practice. So that's the alternate play. If there's a breakdown, it's Tatum in the corner. And that's the play. Kyrie was pissed off because he thought the ball could have come through him through Morris.
Yeah. But the other part is that I agree with Vince as well, because I feel like, that role, it's not that time of the season yet to be that guy yet.
But that last play, there wasn't enough time on the clock to run that play that Kyrie wanted.
I agree.
So I don't know why he thought they could have got it through that many hands either. I don't understand.
So it's either he doesn't understand, or which I'm sure he does, or it's an ego thing where I don't care if it's a crappy shot or I haven't got enough time, I'll still try it. No, I think that would annoy me if I was his teammate. But I don't know. Look, they had a good win. They might have. Who knows? They might have had a big powwow and they might have ironed it all out. We'll see.
Yeah,
they came out. They gave it to Toronto yesterday.
They did.
Yep.
That was a great game.
No Leonard though, was it? Was that
No,
today?
Leonard was there. Leonard top scored the game.
That's right. Yeah, today Leonard didn't play. Well, one day. I can't remember.
Today you rested. Hey, before we jump off Boston, because I do want to get into a little bit more trade talk, rumors going around right now. But while we're on Boston and Jason Tatum, I think, Stu, you put up the other day on the courtside page, Tatum revealing the Nike Adapt BB, the self-lacing shoes. We finally have self-lacing shoes. I'm a little concerned, though. Not because of, I think they're...
Are you worried about your personal on-court performance, Wayne?
Those days are long gone. I don't worry about my performance anymore, and I'm just talking about basketball. Anyway.
Either does your wife.
You can't zing me when I zing myself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was a self-zing.
So, you can obviously untighten them through the on smartphones through their app, but you can also do it manually. I just got this... People rocking them on the court. I just feel like there's going to be some play where some opposition runs up and just clicks a button, undoes his laces, and that's it.
I want people on the sideline to hack into people's shoes.
Oh, my gosh.
Exactly. How good's that going to be? Just sit on the sideline. Zip, 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 zip.
No, you don't, Russell Westbrook. Ankle. I must admit, though, I'm a little bit disappointed, though, because... They released him in a low cut, and I kind of wanted Marty McFly shoes for lace-up.
Didn't you buy some Marty McFly shoes a few years ago?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Didn't you? Oh, no, that was Marco Bellinelli, sorry.
Did he buy one of the...
he
they
bought
made 1,000 of them, didn't they?
I can see how you get us confused, Vince. I can see how you get us confused.
Yes, same hairline. No, he bought 4 pairs or something.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Good on him. I would too.
They've been working on the tech for a long time, and obviously they just needed that motor to get smaller and smaller so that it could actually fit lightweight into a kick. But they're a good-looking shoe, though. They really are, and there's very few good-looking boots out at the moment. So, yeah, I'll be interested. But they're going to be $400 or something US, I think.
Oh,
jeez.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they'll be the most expensive shoe on the market until that mechanism becomes cheaper and easier to build.
I'm still rocking my D Browns.
So's D Brown.
Well, he's got a lifetime Reebok deal, so why not?
If we say one last thing about the Mavs before we move on, and that is that Mr. Luka Doncic is the second highest vote receiver in the Western Conference. Is that right?
That's so amazing. I'm so happy. There's
a lot of people in Slovenia on the internet right now just voting.
It's just great. It's just good that people, want the new guard to come in, and it's not just about the incumbents. And I think Durant's 4th or 5th or something in Western Conference votes, and I just think that's great.
But he's just such a likable player too.
100%.
Because he looks 12. He looks 12.
You can't not like him.
Oh, he's great.
His whole style of play, his demeanour, and things like this. he saw a picture on Twitter. He was in between Dirk and Pau Gasol on the court, and he just tweeted the picture and like two legends, obviously meaning himself and Dirk.
Of course.
But you know what I mean. Like that stuff just is awesome.
Yeah, but it's not just about the popularity contest. He is legitimately, if each squad takes 12 people to the All-Star game, he is already one of the top 24 basketball players in the NBA, and the kid's played 40 games.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We haven't seen anything like this since LeBron.
But I will say this about Luka.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just joking. I love him. He's great.
Like I said last week, when he discovers that the Mavs practice facility has a weight room, he's going to be oof.
Well, when he gets that NBA body.
Yeah, he's just like he's not overweight or anything. He's just he's just there.
He's got that baby fat.
Yeah.
Whatever wobbles got to wobble off, so it'll be fine.
I'll tell you what, shout out to our sponsors, Latvia.com. Because I just realised that Kurot's over in Brooklyn is also Latvian. So we've got Batans, we've got the Zinger, and now we've got Kurot's as well. These Latvians are taking over, and we're sponsored by them. So other podcasts, we saw it coming before you did.
Eat our dust.
Yeah, and go to Latvia.com for all your travelling needs and tourist destinations.
Absolutely, particularly if you want to go to Latvia.
I mean, I love it. We plug these guys every week, it seems, but don't exist.
Checks in the mail.
Oh. Well, actually, glad you brought that up. Talking about mail, every week we hit the courtside page.
Oh, God. What's going on?
Talking about mail, all the players in the NBA are men. Speaking of men,
mail. Oh, mail. I thought you meant mail, like mail. Read the mail, not the mail.
Before you go on with your mail,
It's got awkward real quick.
Have you noticed NBL legend, championship winner with Perth Wildcats and played with the Melbourne Tigers as well? Rashad Tucker's been liking a lot of our stuff.
Has he really?
Well, good to see you paying attention, Wayne. Well done.
Sorry. All this pressure. Shit, what am I going to do? Well, is he a courtside listener?
He must be flat out.
Is he a listener?
Well, I don't know, but I just gave him a shout out, so we'll find out.
Well, he, like everyone else, should jump onto the courtside board because each and every week we ask you guys, the listeners, what teams and topics you'd like to hear about on this week's show, and we've got some doozies.
Oh, jeez.
Did you like that? I like that. It was good.
It's fantastic.
Actually,
almost as good as zany.
Technically, we've only got 2 questions, but we'll jump into them anyway.
What's going on, everyone? Gee whiz.
Well, that's doozies, plural. That works.
Doozies?
I've seen one of them, and I don't care to answer that question because it's nobody cares about that team except you.
Well, I was going to say, Gavin Sylvie G'ing me up, asked me what happened to the Grizzlies. I mean, what happened to the Grizzlies is exactly what we all predicted was going to happen to the Grizzlies. And apparently Marc Gasol can't play against teams that have no centers because he doesn't know what to do with himself.
Chandler Parsons happened to the Grizzlies.
Fucking hell.
And Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace happened to the Grizzlies, not Chan.
Yeah, Chris Wallace.
Jesus. Anyway.
Did you see the job Chris Wallace did at Boston? It was terrible.
I don't know what this guy has to do to get fired. I don't know what else he has to do. It's baffling. Like, it's not even like a Dolan situation where at least he owns the team so he can't get fired. It's just like, get rid of him. Jesus. Anyway, let's get off that.
Yeah, well, you let Zach Randolph go and you get bad karma.
Yeah, you should have let him stay there and retire there and then hang his jersey in the rafters.
Yes, we should have. Anyway, I digress.
And Bryant Reeve should have his retired too.
Big country?
Yeah, big country.
There's no stadium in Vancouver, mate.
It's the same franchise.
Nah, sorry. No, we might as well just retire Steve Francis then. Come on. Be serious. Be serious.
Not play.
Complete with tear stains.
Vincent, I think he must be in a mood again. But Francis didn't play a game.
But he was drafted by us, and you remember the big trade between Houston?
Sure do.
Yeah.
Pity didn't keep Sharif Abdul-Rahim.
Oh man, I love that guy. Anyway.
He was one of my favourites. I always wanted one of his jerseys, but that ship is sailed.
He was great in Sacramento and Atlanta as well. He's great. Anyway, we digress. Let's jump into our first real question.
We do digress, but people like it when we digress.
Do they though?
Things like that.
First real question.
The first real question, yeah. Throwing shade. Our first question comes from Stephen Rodgick, and he wants to know, in light of my ever-growing man love for Luka, and my belief is the potential to be the greatest Euro to have ever played in the NBA when he's done, who are your top 3 Euros to have played in the NBA? Mine are Dirk, Drazen, and Powell, acknowledging Powell is not done but deserves this spot. Thoughts?
Yeah, look, I like that question. Very good. There's a lot of Europeans I've liked who haven't been superstars, but I've really liked them. And I can only think of one right now, like Dino Raja. Really like Dino.
Vladi?
Oh, Vladi. He was so good. Like, again, another player that I don't think gets his dues.
Pig Panther? The waiter? Tony Kukoc?
Yeah, he's in my top 3.
Oh, really? You got him that high?
If you ever chat to Craig Walton, you tell him how much I love Tony Kukoc. Ask him. Scam Archer was a lot. He's in my top 3. I'm going to have to get... do we just go 1, 2, 3, eh?
Sasha Vujacic?
Oh.
No.
Machine.
I'm going to go Kukoc 3. I want to put Drazen in there, but it's not his fault he died, but... Yeah, they did it for a few years. Got stuck in Portland for a couple. I want to put him honourable mention, Drazen. He was great. And he trash talked Michael Jordan and backed it up.
Greek Freak?
Oh, no, not the Greek Freak.
Too soon?
I'm going to say Powell and then Dirk.
Oh, wow.
And, God, it pains me to put Powell at number 2 because I just love that man with everything I've got. But
Stu, who you got?
I have got order. I'm going to go with Dirk, Powell, and Parker. I think the longevity of Tony Parker's career, winning does mean a lot to me in my rankings of players. And who knows, I think he could have even been better had he have played somewhere else. Would he have won as much? No, but I think he could have been better. Not to say that his game was stymied by the Popovich system in San Antonio, but he played within it. He played perfectly within it. He was the perfect point guard for Tim Duncan in that era. But I think he played within the system, and he could have been even better. But his championships, his pedigree, his longevity, he rounds out my 3.
I reckon you could almost say the same for Kukoc.
Yeah, Kukoc was my flip of the coin. He's my 4th.
Yeah.
Because, again, I just think that had he been given, when did we see him? I mean, what, Milwaukee? I mean, what did he do?
Oh, no, when he went to Atlanta for like a year.
Atlanta, that's right.
Atlanta, Bucks.
But even then he was like 31, 32.
And Philly
but
as well. Yeah.
But at Atlanta, they gave him the ball and they ran it through him, and he was like getting 18, 19 a game.
Yeah.
But he wasn't even in his prime. But no, I like it.
I think it's a really, I suppose, look, we touched on it earlier about like the state of the NBA and whatnot, but I just think it's really good now that the young Euros are coming over to the league. Like, we're not getting, like, I love Tony Kukoc. I loved him with the Bulls, but I still always felt like he came over here late. I'm just glad I'm glad we're not missing out on these great Euros playing the NBA like too late in their career. Like Sabonis, man, like such a shame. Like Sabonis was even at his age, he was phenomenal for Portland, right? Like, imagine a younger Sabonis in this league. Like, I mean, his kid's tearing it up now, but he would just been Embiid level, I reckon.
Oh, it's unbelievable to watch those old games, right? And you're watching like a guy who's like what, mid-30s.
Yeah.
Playing against 20-year-olds, and he was still completely serviceable. And the guy had no knees and a bad back.
Yeah.
During these holidays, I watched the Portland Lakers series, and just you watch he and Shaq match up, and it's like he's got the size to go with Shaq. He's even got the strength, but like Benson said, the bad back. He had a repaired Achilles. His right ankle was buggered. Still held his own, like still busted his ass, but you could just see, man, if this guy was like 10 years younger, he would have given Shaq fits. He was so good. So good.
Gentlemen, it's been excellent tonight. Lots to talk
Hey,
about.
Benson, your back sore, mate.
Is my back sore
Yeah.
from carrying the podcast?
No, just from carrying Wayne.
Oh, okay.
I was going to play all concerned and ask you if you're okay. Have you melted to the seat in your car?
I've been hitting pause so you can't hear me turning on the air conditioning intermittently throughout the recording. It is fucking.
Are you just wearing shorts or naked?
I'm just butt naked in my car in the
Can you just like lift your butt off the chair so we can just hear it rip?
I'll get a sound effect, Vince. I'll get a sound effect. That's not gonna look good on Google history.
Oh, speaking of history, I sent Benson the link. I didn't get a reply.
What link?
I sent you a link on Messenger.
Did you? To what?
To one of Wayne's very first podcasts that he ever did.
What?
I haven't seen it. I have to double check.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
But the point was, you know how Wayne, and look, I've always considered Wayne one of the best hosts around.
Uh-oh.
It's safe to say, back in the day, he wasn't putting much effort in his intros.
Oh,
like
really?
he does today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit lackluster.
Took me a while to find my voice.
Not a bit, actually. It was very, very lackluster.
I didn't know how to start shows back then. Then I think...
It was like this. No, I can't even do it justice. You just have to... I'm not going to tell everyone what it is.
What episode was it? What episode?
Oh, geez, it could have been your second one.
Oh, wow.
But the intro was just like death. It was like a funeral.
Welcome to the Closet Podcast.
Probably something like that.
It was worse than that. It was like I can't be staffed.
All right, look. For everyone, I'm gonna play it now. Let me just jump to iTunes.
Oh no!
In the back of his head, he's like, "Yeah, this thing's not going to take off."
This is 331 episodes later. Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty lackluster. Like it was just like.
All right. Episode 2? You want episode 2 or episode 1?
What's the episode? It's Buckets of Yeah or something.
Oh, Buckets of Yeah. Okay, I can find. That is.
Yeah, I didn't know you back then. Neither did Benson.
I almost didn't accept the Hank McCoy friend request because I'm a big comic fan as well and a big Marvel comic fan. So growing up, I knew who Hank McCoy was, and of course you had the Beast as your profile. But I just thought it's going to be some kid in the Philippines trying to hack into my account, and so I almost didn't accept that because. And then I'm looking at it, and you had like 8 friends on the profile at the time, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting on board with this thing. And I let it sit in my request for about a week before I accepted it.
Excellent.
Because I think Vince was one, and again, but I didn't know Vince from a bar, and then Dan as well. And I'm like, oh, these guys are from Australia. I don't know about this Hank guy still, but he's got people from Australia. All right, I'll join. How did you source people, you fucking stalker?
I pretty much just stalk people on Facebook. You just nailed it in one. Anyone who had anyone who was from Oz who had wearing a basketball jersey or had an NBA player in their profile picture. Add, because I figured I'd just filter it out. That's how it works.
I accepted Stu's friend request because he's sexy as hell.
Okay, ready? Here's episode 1. Oh boy. And...
Here it comes. And welcome to the show. I'm your host, Hank McCoy. You listen to the In Defense MJ podcast. With me as always...
Did you like the? Welcome to the show. And then hear this.
Roasted.
Does not give a shit. That is the worst.